Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bay Area Focus. I'm your host, Michelle Griego. We have an interesting and very inspiring show today, and we are going to hear from KPIX5 anchor Veronica de la Cruz on an organization that is close to her heart, an author and businessman on how he turned a crisis into a success, and a man who draws inspiration from his father. But here to talk to us first are Raul Deju, author of We Got Mojo, and Tom Gorham to share their stories of survival and success. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Raul, first I have to ask you, on the cover of your book, it says, by Raul Deju and 35 BFFs.
Well, you know, the most wonderful thing in life is to have friends.
Sure.
I read a while back that if you have lots of friends, you are expected to live 20% longer and happier. So we got all of our friends who've been very successful in their own way to put their stories together and hopefully to inspire others as to what you can do in this land we call America.
And in writing this book, you, like you said, you got to know a lot of people's stories, but you have a story yourself. You came from Cuba.
I was a Cuban immigrant. I came in when I was an early teen, and I didn't know where I was headed. I didn't know what the United States was like. It was my first trip on an airplane. And I didn't know who was receiving me on the other end. But I was warmly received. I learned English, went to college, went to work, and the rest is history. And so these are the friends that have become my family. My parents, I saw them again years after I came here because they couldn't come. So it's been a great run. It's still a great run. And friends are at the heart of it.
And you became very successful.
Well, you know, success, we've defined success in the book as something that starts with values, with happiness. I've been very lucky, and that's why we have a four-leaf clover in there, because, you know, I'll take luck any day. I've met great people. We've started great companies. I live in San Francisco, which is a great city. And my friends and I are in contact all the time, doing new things for others, because that's part of, you know, a lot of people gave to me when I came here, and now it's my time to give back.
Well, you have an amazing story, and Tom, you also do too. You are in the book as well, your background. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I do have a chapter in the book, and my background is I'm an East Bay native, born and raised in Oakland, and you know, went to all the schools there and got on the path. I grew up in an alcoholic family where all my family members have died of substance use in one way or another, all legal substance use. I was the anomaly there. So the alcoholism affected my life, and although at 35, I started 2 businesses in the East Bay and owned a few homes, at 38, I ended up living under 880 homeless.
Wow. How did that happen?
Well, it's a long story, longer we can do here, but because of, you know, alcoholism is a disease, and it's progressive disease, and so it was affecting my life early on, but later on I just couldn't cope with certain things that happened in life. The loss of my mother, the loss of my children, boom, boom, right in a row, and I didn't recover, and I felt very hopeless. I think I really went into a deep depression and started drinking again. I hadn't drank in a number of years, but I was in so much pain that life was just suddenly worthless to me, and I was living the great American dream, owned 4 homes, ran 2 businesses, and it was all purposeless.
And you lived on the streets for a very long time.
I languished on the streets for over a decade.
Yeah, that's
and from the late 80s through the late 90s.
And what was your moment that you said, I'm turning this around?
Well, fortunately, people came into my life that gave me an opportunity. I'm so blessed that my wife now, Davita Cody, at the time was starting Options Recovery Services. And there in a drug court with Judge Carol Brosnan, they did an intervention, which didn't work right away, but they kept taking chances on me and sending me back to the county jail where I spent 47 stays. And finally it clicked in my head. I had this epiphany in jail that these people cared more about me than I cared about myself, and that was very uncomfortable.
Right. Well, you have recovered, and now you're Executive Director of Option Recovery Services. Thank you for telling us your story. And Raul, you say we got mojo. Quickly, how do we tap into that mojo?
Well, how do we tap into that mojo? We all have it inside, and we all can ask questions to others, and there's all kinds of friends. You know, I truly believe that if we put our mind to it and persist, and if we look at life different than others, every company that I've started has been a different thing. I started a company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, many, many years ago that ultimately became one of the largest engineering construction companies in the world. You know, it's about having an idea and putting it to paper and making it work.
Well, we're glad that you put those ideas in your book there. It sounds like a very inspiring book. Thanks so much for sharing your stories. And for more information, just log on to wegotmojodeju.com. Coming up after the break, an organization helping families save their loved ones. We'll be right back.